The 16th verse, without and within beings, it's everywhere, it's outside and inside. It is the unmoving and also the moving that is incomprehensible due to its subtlety, that is far and near. Far for the less evolved, very near for the evolved. For an extroverted person, he has to go a long distance to experience God. For an evolved person, it is very near. It's not that difficult for him to experience that presence of divinity. The divinity is splashed everywhere. You don't have to go very far to experience it. We gave ourselves a question. We said that even though God is everywhere, why is it said that you have to realize that God within yourself? Even though he says Bahihi Antaha, Bahi means without, Antaha is within, even though it is outside as well as inside. But why is it that you have to realize always God within you? Why can't you go and realize God outside? Why is it so? We gave a question last week. Those of you who are not there, you are exempted from answering. Right? But still you can choose to answer. Did you think of the question? Or thinking of it now?
Sir, I didn't.
No, the volume is little too high. Can you switch it on? Keshunga?
Is it too high?
Very, very high. Echo also. A little reduce it, please. Take the mic. Keep the other mic with you there. Hello? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Guruji, the macrocosm is contained in the microcosm. The 5 elements which are there in Prakriti, each of us is made of the same 5 elements. And therefore, it is that much easier to go within to become one with Purusha.
No, the question is, why is it spirituality an introverted journey? As much as it is available outside, is available inside also. But always we are told to search for God within, not outside. It's not that it's any less outside. It is in same proportion outside and inside. Yet we are all the time directed inward. So much so, it is said that spirituality is an inward journey, not an outward exploration. You don't have to go outward to experience it. There's an echo. Yeah, but there should not be an echo. If just because the mic is on, there should not be an echo. So that's the point. Why is it said so? The microcosm and macrocosm have a lot of similarities, but still, why is it said inward? One reason, as last week was said, Vasantama stated that when you go extroverted, the chances are you will get distracted by the many. So would you be able to switch off the mic and see if that helps with the echo? The echo has gone. Yeah. So the possibility is that you will get distracted by the various temptations and attractions. You might lose your focus. They said that could be one point, certainly, but there could be more reasons why spiritual journey is inward.
And when you go outside, The outward journey promotes duality. Whereas when you go inward, that oneness is easier to perceive. The person who
chances are you get caught up in the
duality gets promoted.
What is duality?
Duality is the external world, so many things, they're all different. I am different. I feel that way.
That is plurality, right?
Duality, which leads to plurality.
But what is duality?
Duality is the terrestrial and the transcendental.
Oh, no. When you are trying to experience God outward, then there is the perceiver and the perceived. I see God. That's the duality there. It's not the terrestrial transcendental. I seeing a multifold things, multifold expression of things and beings. That is plurality. When you move away from that, you say, I see God in everything, but still I and God are separate. But the moment you go inward, there is no more difference of the perceiver and perceived. That distinction becomes insignificant. In fact, nil. You become that.
So when we go within, the seer, the seen, and the act of seeing become one.
One. Only one. There's only one. That is the realization which is inward. That could be another possible reason. There could be many reasons. I'm just trying to open up that subject for discussion. One minute, ma. Only thing is online people can't hear you. Just to help that.
One philosopher said, is it on?
Yeah, it is.
It's difficult to find peace within, but it's impossible to find anywhere else.
Arthur Schopenhauer.
So same thing, I suppose, applied to what you're saying. It's difficult, but yes, that's where we can find him. Nowhere else.
So at a relative level, as you're quoting Schopenhauer, the German philosopher, it is difficult to find happiness in oneself. It's indeed difficult, but it's impossible to find it anywhere else. So at a relative level, that happiness is the nature of Brahman, nature of God. So it is not possible outside, but it's only possible inside. But I can ask the same question, but again, the context would go a little not in the context. The question we are asking is reference to experiencing God, not happiness. If I say, why is it difficult to find happiness within, but why is it impossible? And the answer might change. But the question is, why are we said, the concept is same, only at a relative level. Why are we said only to go inward? As it were, the headquarters of God is within me. The headquarters, everywhere God is there, but headquarters is with me. Just like the example we give in the context of it, we say the government of a country is all pervasive. Every length and breadth of the pervasive hemisphere of the land, and it also there in the territorial waters. Everywhere the government is prevalent, its presence is felt, it's there. But if you want to contact the government, you can't go deep into the waters, or you can't go into the jungle and say, where is the government? You got to go to the capital city where the parliament is or the prime minister sits. The headquarters is where you contact the government, but it's present everywhere. That's an example only to substantiate the question. It only substantiates the point that yes, even though God is everywhere, the government is everywhere, you got to contact it, you got to go to headquarters. The headquarters of the self is within you, not outside. So any amount of external inquiry will not really take you closer to God. Okay? Sidhuji, you have to hold on. Ramji online, then I'll come to Vasantama, then you, sir. You are in queue. No, she wants to answer, so leave the thing by there. Ramji?
Yeah, sir. I will try to attempt it. if we accept the principle that the realization of self is equal to the realization of God, which is what Advaita says, and self and we, the difference is the conditioning which is there. And so if you remove your ignorance through inward journey by overcoming vasanas, desires, attachments and everything, then that is how you will find inner God. Because without doing that, externally, if you go and still leave all your internal attachments and desires and then vasanas inside you, you won't find. Because the route to God is to overcome all these things and purify yourself, remove the ignorance within you.
You've got a very valid point. The true realization is when the impurities within are cleansed. So when one goes outward, one may not be mindful of the necessary spiritual steps to get to God. The steps which gets you to God is to cleanse your internal impurities. It's not how many times or how far have you gone to experience God in its manifestations. So, a beautiful point that only when you go inward, you know the real impurities that is separating you from God. Man minus desires, attachments, vasanas equals God.
Yeah.
Beautiful, sir. Thank you. Anything else?
No, sir.
Great. Okay. Vasantama,
I was going to say the same thing.
which one?
That, like medicine, we take that medicine not because we are going to get good health, but to remove the impurities. It is within us, so we can only experience it within us. Everywhere, God is everywhere, but that experiencing can be done only when you remove all your impurities and
Fair enough. Now, when you say going along with your thought, if I want to see God in you, okay, if I want to see God in him, if I want to see God in everybody, that's only possible the moment I realize it within me.
first you have to.
So that realization has to happen only within me and then it's experienced outside.
Because God is everywhere. That
God
principle-
is everywhere, but that experiencing the reality of God everywhere will only happen when I invoke it within me.
You experience first and then.
Experience is first within and then you see it outside. So I may again go back to it and say, why is it that way? Why is it that realization only has to happen within me and then I experience it everywhere?
Our purpose of life is
Purpose of life is to realize, but then I can go and attempt outside also. Why is it only in me? So see, there is no, what I'm trying to get at is you can keep questioning. You can keep probing. We think we have got it, but when you start re-questioning, again, there is a possibility of inquiry. There's nothing as 100% satisfactory answer. So the journey of inquiry can go on. And perhaps if I keep pondering to a point of mental fatigue, a point will come, sir, can you please move on? Not yet, I can see that. But until that mental fatigue comes, you can keep inquiring. Because there is no one answer which is 100% answering the question. But there is that so much you can draw out of it. That's the point I'm trying to say. But have you made the point?
in somebody else. We have to go within only to experience.
I can't see it somebody else. I can't realize it in a particular place.
But I can only do it within me.
You invoke it within you and then
And
you
then
see it there. See it there.
Then you feel that otherness will not be there.
Correct. The otherness dismissed. It gets dismissed. Gets displaced. No, you're right. It's only reiterating it. But it has to happen within us. So the spark is only within us. It's not outside. That's the irony of it. It's everywhere, but the spark is only within me. I can go to any place which can have all the aura, which can have all the power, it can have all the divinization. It will have no impact on you until it is sparked from within you.
That spark is really,
That spark is within us.
it's a very nice word.
It,
Just
it, it,
stated.
it drives home the point, perhaps. That real triggering point has to be within.
I couldn't express it.
No, very much, very much. I can relate to what you're saying. But that realization of a spark is within us. Therefore, they always have said it is an inward journey. So, any amount of external experiences has to draw you inward. So, please don't forget the fact that is inward. The realization is inward. The experiencing is inward. Yes, Sidhuji, you want to add something?
Hari Om Guruji. Outside it is, everything is grosser. So Prahlada was a realized soul, so he could visualize him in a grosser, in a anyway, everywhere. He saw it in a pillar, saw him since his. So outside is grosser. It's relatively, it is a subtler with it's enlivening, and he is within us. We go to temple because it is relatively, we have, it is, idol is there that has been pratishtad and everyone prays for it. It's a relatively, that symbol attracts us compared to any other, although Brahman is everywhere.
In the particular mic, much reduce. Whatever you're reducing, still reduce. I don't know whether the concept of grosser and subtler will help. Because in fact, it's easier to identify with gross, difficult to identify with subtle. You get that? It's easier if it's a...
No, the grosser the object, the more difficult for manifestation. See, we cannot see Lord.
You mean subtler is difficult, right? You mean subtler, it's difficult, not grosser.
Everything in the what we see outside is all gross.
Yes.
Lord is subtler. When everything is subtle, but what I am saying is the objects are highly gross.
Okay. So
we don't see manifestation. We always think it is a rock or a river, but we don't visualize.
I'm not able to visualize what you're saying. Just because of the grossness doesn't make it difficult, no? I don't know. Just because of its a grossness, it doesn't make it difficult to experience God. Because it's almost tantamounting to saying it's not there, don't search for it. It's only within you, search inside. See, you can almost, the answer where we are approaching is saying, by saying the spark is within you, when we say that it's not outside, it's only inside, man. It's almost contradicting the statement within and without.
We get purified, we see him everywhere, but we have to get purified.
Purified inside.
We initially, when we are in the first step of spirituality, we cannot see him anywhere.
The first step, nobody sees it.
Yeah. As we go and learn this knowledge and it becomes wisdom, we start appreciating his presence everywhere. But we realize everywhere only when we ourselves get realized.
The point that we have made, once you invoke it within, you see it outside. Right. Have anything to say, Ma? Just a minute. You get hold of the mic.
Maybe what Sir was saying, it happens in the gross world. We identify too much with the form. Like he said, that's a beautiful river, that's a mountain. We just identify with the form of it.
Fair enough.
Not able to see
The divinity.
or the divinity.
Ah.
I think that's maybe what Sir was saying, gross.
We're not able to see the subtle in the gross.
We get identified with the form.
Form, yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, possible. Yeah, sure. So please think over it. Annapurnama is saying we should search for the enlivening force only within, because without that we are nothing. Yeah. True. Keep pondering. As I said, there's no one complete answer. We'll move on to the next verse, please. Verse 17. In the 16th verse, when we took that verse, we asked this question. We'll take up 17th verse, please. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamiva cha sthitam bhuta bhatra cha tagnyeyam grasishnu prabhavishnu cha avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamiva cha sthitam bhuta bhatra cha tagnyeyam grasishnu prabhavishnu cha. Again, a beautiful verse. It says, undivided and yet existing as if divided in beings. And that which is to be known is the sustainer of beings, is the destroyer and the creator. Grasishnu, Prabhavishnu, Cha. Bhuta Bhatracha. It's a supporter. Now hold on to the translation for a moment. What is the crux in the verse, Pushpama? Shamlama, pass the mic to Pushpama. You read the translation and tell me what is the crux in the verse.
Undivided and existing as divided beings, and that which is to be known as is the sustainer of beings, destroyer and creator.
Now you read the whole verse. Now we want to know what is the crux or the essence of the verse. What is the real crux? Where is the contradiction? That is there everywhere. Even in the previous mantra, I said far and near, within and without. That is the style. That's not the real crux.
It appears as undivided, but it is existing.
I want that particular word or two which stands out in the translation. All pervasiveness, that's not. Where's all pervasiveness in the verse? Shamalama. Padingo, read the verse. Where is all pervasive in the verse? No, what?
Sustainer and destroyer is the ambiguity. Opposite words.
Help him, Vijay. Help him. Yes, ma?
Initially, I thought maybe it is undivided yet existing as if divided. But next sentence, that which is to be known as is. Is that the crux?
I would go with your first statement. The first statement, the Sanskrit word iva, avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktamiva. The word iva means as if. Brahman seems to be divided, but it is not divided. What is the nature of Brahman? Undivided. Brahman is undivided, but yet existing as if divided. That's the crux. If the word as if is removed from the translation, removed from the verse, divided, undivided, yet divided. That means you're breaking Brahman. That means Brahman is divisible. Brahman is indivisible. Brahman is undivided. It is a homogeneous principle. But since it's expressing in the multifold pluralistic forms, it seems to be divided, but it's not divided. As if, as it were, just like. These are the concepts. Like the waking world is just like a dream. They don't say is the dream, it's just like a dream. So these are the very powerful words in Vedanta. And you got to be very acutely microscopic to take out that grammatical word. It's not a philosophical word, it's a grammatical word that iva. It's like as it divided, it's not divided. That's the real punch you get from the whole verse gets the lift because of that word. Otherwise, it's becomes very obvious. So it is divided, sorry, it is undivided means it is a substratum of all beings. It is the same, the homogeneous principle. What is divided? Okay, what divides us? What are the things that divide us? Thanks, Gayatri. What are the things that divide us? The one is the heterogeneous variety of beings. What else could divide us? By a name, by a culture, class, creed, country, religion, caste, your vasanas, your individualities. All these divide us. So the Atman or Brahman, which is undivided, the homogeneous in all the divisible elements. So he says, this Brahman, even though is a substratum of all these divisible, manifold, pluralistic world, it appears to be divided, but it is not divided. Means the walls of these individual personalities doesn't divide Brahman. Even animals and plants. So we are heterogeneous expressions. So amongst all this, Brahman is the same. It appears as if it is divided. Beautiful. So the realization of Brahman is to see the indivisible in the divisible. The realization of Brahman is to see the undivided in the divided. So you see the homogeneous in the heterogeneous expression in terms of language. You're able to identify with the common denominator. Now, how to apply this? Can anybody remember the concept that we speak in our satsangs? So the principle is absolute must be broken down to applied philosophy. Correct, Gayatri ma? The absolute must be applied to relative. So how do you apply this quality at a relative level? Which is to see the indivisible in the divisible. To see the undivided in the divided. To see the homogeneous in the heterogeneous. How do you practice this quality at the relative level, and what is the concept? Anybody remembers? I'm referring to something that we have learned in this classroom. Soumyama, Teriyama, do you know the answer? There is one person who might challenge Soumyama. I don't think anybody comes close to challenging her, because she hears every lecture of mine minimum 25 times. I think so. I stand to be corrected. Every lecture possible which I don't know I gave, should have heard about it. She keeps hearing again and again. So chances are she'll remember the question. What is the applied philosophy for this concept of seeing Brahman everywhere? How do you apply it? Huh? Samyama, can you unmute yourself? தெரியலையா எப்படி பண்ணோம் அது? It's okay. Type it out. If you can't unmute yourself, type out the concept. Yes, Setuji?
We can see him in the saint and the sinner.
What's the concept? The concept that will let you know where you stand. A man of realization who is identifying with the undivided in the divided can see no difference between sinner and saint because he is seeing Brahman in him. Are we at that level? We are not at that level. But that quality of seeing Brahman in everything can be broken down to applied philosophy. So what's the concept?
From family to
What is that? What is that concept called? That concept
expanding the
expanding
our from
identification. So how do you start with? What is the what is it called? You must expand your identification. What is it that you identify? So the principle is known as LM, common denominator. So the principle that you have to apply to bring this quality to apply the concept in our lives. So what is the LCM? So the lowest LCM is, okay, let me start. The lowest LCM that you can identify with is the I, which is the ego. Me and my needs, that's all. I don't identify with anybody else. Correct, Srinivas? Lowest. The next is my family. That can be 2 people, 4 people, 5 people, 10 people. That also can vary in degree. Because your larger family can have 20 people, 25 people, 50 people. You're able to identify everybody. So within that family, there is no differences. We are all one family. Then perhaps you can say wisdom family. Extended family. We have not gone beyond, we have gone beyond your own personal family. Here we have come from different place, different country, different perspectives. There is no hatred, there is no differences. You may be able to serve, you may not be able to serve, you are able to identify. We are all one. Doesn't matter what you are, we are one. You're able to identify. There is no hatred within that family. Then you grow beyond that, you come to your community. Then you can come to your country. Then you come to humanity. And then the largest circle you identify with all living beings. Doesn't matter whether it is a human or an ant crawling, or it is an innocent creature out there, a bird or a beast, you are able to identify. Now, this concept is known as LCM. Correct, Gayatri ma? Huh? So what is the lowest common denominator that you able to identify? Now, in order to identify with all living beings, what is the lowest common denominator here, Srinivas? Sare, ikkada. If I have to see oneness in all living beings, What is the common denominator? What is the LCM I must identify with? With Srinivas. Huh? How can you identify with all living beings? What's the common in all living beings? The Brahman, the Atman is the common denominator which breaks through the divisible elements of the heterogeneity. The heterogeneous expression is supported by that homogeneous principle of Brahman. So the LCM here is Brahman. The moment you identify with Brahman, you will see the commonness that Brahman is substratum in all living beings. Now we are not there. Where are we? Somewhere in this ladder. I'm sure none of us are at this lowest realm where we are grossly selfish now. We are not. We have gone beyond that. So it could be your family. It could be the wisdom organization. It could be, it's not this organization. Maybe the organization you're working for, it could have 5,000 people. You say everybody within the organization is wearing the banner, the badge of that company. We belong there. We are one. That identification. Then once there is that identification, what's the test of identification? The question is, what is the test? I want to qualify this. What is the acid test? To be really sure that yes, I am there. You can be somewhere in the ladder, but what is that acid test? If you say, oh, I am at the level of the organization, what is acid test? Shamlama, can you answer the question? What is acid test? Get hold of the mic. Where's the mic? Yeah. See, unless until, how do you know whether you are really there? I is there in degree until you realize the self. The I is there in degree until you get to this point of Brahman. If I say you are at the level of your family, putting the pocket of 10 people in your family, let's say your immediate family of 6 people, 5 people. What is the acid test they are genuinely identifying with the family? Totally, 100% I am there at that level. What's the acid test? Very important question. That brings a sense of reality to, am I there? Empathy? What is empathy? Isn't that identification? No, we are not gone to the level of living beings here. We are only perhaps at the level of the family or the organization. Okay, for the family, what is the acid test for the family? Okay, just to aid the thought process, another word for identification is love. And when we say love, that love has to be unconditional. You cater to me or not, I still love you. You satisfy my interest or not, I still love you. Right? Correct? This is when I say acid test of your identification or love, it is unconditional. So today, your family member does not act according to your likes or dislikes. You have a strong sense of how you must conduct yourself. And if the family member doesn't talk to you, doesn't fall in line with your thinking process, what are the emotions that usually surface according to the non acceptance of your demands within the family, what happens? There is a rupture, friction, hatred, otherness. Doesn't that come in? Why is the family circles breaking down to smaller and smaller pockets? Why? There is no identification, there is no love. Selfishness. So, are we at the point where we are only thinking of ourselves? Are we that low? But then then the test is to how far can we go to a point where I'm able to identify unconditionally to my family? Do you get that? Suresh, you get that? So, what is the test of identification? The test of identification is no animosity, no otherness, no expectations, no hatred. It's like the mother and the child. Will the mother ever hate the child? If the mother sees herself in the child, it's like I see myself in every part of my body. I see the limbs are mine, the torso is mine, the head is mine, the legs are mine, the eyes are mine. So if something happens to my eye, I don't hate my eye. As we give the example, many times, sometimes it happens, your tooth bites the tongue and the tongue starts bleeding. And science says, tongue is one of the fastest healing part of the body. But the number of muscles, I don't know what are the logical thing behind it. It heals very fast before you realize it's healed. But when my teeth has bit the tongue, do I hate my teeth? I can't go to dentist and say, please remove these teeth. Dentist will say, why? No, it's the third time this fellow has bitten my tongue. I don't like that fellow, remove it. What, gone mad or what? Nothing wrong with it. Why are you removing it? You'll get into trouble if you remove it. No, please remove it. Why? I have no identification of my tooth. It's as absurd as that. Just because it has caused some harm to me, do I hate it? That hatred should be absent wherever there's love. Now apply this principle of no animosity, no otherness, no hatred, in spite of what other party does to you. Now find out where exactly you are in this ladder. Irrespective of what other person does to you, I still identify with you. I am with you because I and you are one. That is applying oneness. That is to apply the quality of seeing the undivided in the divided. So to be able to take that quality to the level where I see God in every being, it is an unimaginable giddy heights of spirituality. As you said, I see the same in a sinner or a saint. You backstab me or you glorify me, I still identify with you. Oh my God. You backstab me or you glorify me, I still see the same. What must be my level? So I am not identifying with your act. I'm identifying with that denominator in you, which is the Brahman. So the fact that I see within, I will experience it outside. That opening question that we discussed. The moment I realize it within, the expression is, there is no hatred. I see the oneness. Now, you will get the magnitude of this quality only when you explain it in the process of LCM. Otherwise, you don't understand we just loosely say, seeing God everywhere. It is, I tell you, it is one of the most, it's like the Mount Everest summit, climbing the Mount Everest. It's not a joke, but we talk in a very lighter note, in lighter vein, not realizing the depth of it. So we need to keep doing that acid test ourselves. Is there any hatred? Is there otherness? That's why, I keep telling to myself and those who are very close, I keep telling, I would never take anybody's service for granted. Today, you are in a position to serve the cause that I am working for. I am grateful to you. For tomorrow, for some reason, you move on, you're not in a position to serve this cause. I still respect your choice not to serve this cause. Because I don't need to have any animosity towards you because you have chosen. You have reasons for not being able to serve. Why should I have a hatred for you? Do you mean to say my job and my work is so important that I choose to hate you on my grounds because you don't agree with me? Isn't that ego? Height of ego? Just because you don't support in what I think is the right way of doing, how can I choose to hate you? Isn't that arrogance? So I have no hatred or animosity in my heart just because you have chosen not to support a cause I believe in. I still love you for your choice of not wanting to support. In the heart of hearts, there is no hatred, there is no otherness. If I am there with you because of your choice, that kind of a deep respect for another person. You choose to come and support, I appreciate. You choose not to support, I still appreciate the fact that you have chosen not to support. But I don't have any hatred towards you for what you have done or what you don't choose to do. So I am testing what is my level of animosity, what are my reactions to what the world does to me. That is my level of identification with the other person. If you are catering to me and I say I love you, there's no big deal. That is not identification. I am loving you because you are being kind to me. Is that any great thing? That's not, there's nothing. So let's not be fooled by things. When things go your way, you seem to have love for the world. That is not the real love. The real love is when the world criticizes you, still have a feeling for the other person. Maybe there's a reason why he's criticizing me. Maybe he has a point. That kind of an attitude. But the real test is this. So to the person who is done worse to you, you still have no hard feelings for the person. You don't hold that animosity in your heart. As we say, if I hate you, who is being punished? I am punishing myself, no? How long will I hold that grudge? How long will I hold that hatred? How long will I harbor that negativity within me for what that person has done and long forgotten? But still I'm remembering, you have done that. Did I? He'll say, did I? I didn't mean to, he'll say. At last it may end up, Arey yaar, I didn't mean to do. Why are you taking it so personally? You see how we make a soliloquy of that emotion and we go through a... Yes, ma. Can you use a mic, ma? I can hear you very clearly. But for...
You used to talk about a person, he was with you in academy, and he would never understand anyone is wicked to him or negative to him, or he was so above all that. At that level, you told us this, that he used to be so, he would never understand if anyone is even trying to be sort of critical of him or negative to him. That's I remember.
I can relate to that person whom you are referring. There was a man, a student, colleague of ours. You know what was his pet name? Can you guess what was the name we gave him? I think you're talking of the same person. His pet name was called Brahman. He was called Brahman. Believe me, Brahman. In those 3 years, we have hardly heard him say a word. Forget a statement, a word. Everything that is said to him, he will just be quiet. It didn't matter to him. Almost we used to call him Brahman. Hey, Brahman enga? In the karma time, we want to know his name was Gopal. Now I had to dig deep to get his name. But we never called him Gopal, we called him Brahman. Short fellow, he used to play tabla. What tabla he used to play? Only sound he made was through his tabla. Otherwise, nothing. So quiet, he'll come to the dining hall, he'll eat, just sit quiet like that. Throughout 3 years, believe me, what a personality he was. We didn't know whether he's there or not. So quiet. Oh, were you there? Oh, was it Brahman there? So much so we used to call him Brahman. Some people are there when they're not there, absence is felt. But his presence also is not felt. That is Brahman. Setuji's presence is felt today. He should be, your presence should not be, absence should not be felt. His presence was not felt. Brahman. So maybe referring to that person. Thanks. I have completely forgotten him. Thanks to you. You have recalled old. I've never spoken of him. I can't remember talking of him. Yes, sir.
This unconditional love, Guruji, which we are talking about, there is a beautiful Zen story. There is a Zen master. His name is Shichuri. He is sitting in his monastery. It's evening, and he is reading the Diamond Sutra. And all of a sudden, a thief brandishing a knife enters his room, and he comes to Shichuri, and he brandishes the knife. Come on, give me your money. So Shichuri looks at him, and he says, "You want money?" And his table is in a corner of the room. You can go to the table. There is a drawer. Pull out the drawer and take the money, but keep some for me because tomorrow some tax has to be paid. Rest of the money you take. That guy is shocked. What is this man behaving like this? He goes to the drawer, takes the money, leaves some, puts it in his pocket, and he's leaving. And just as he's going outside the door, Shichuri says, "Somebody gives you money, you won't say thank you." So the thief blurts out, "Thank you," and he goes. So this guy is a habitual thief. He is stealing at number of places. He's brought to the court. So naturally, number of people come and give evidence. Yes, this is the guy who stole. Shichuri is also called. And the judge asks him, "Did this man come to you and steal your money?" So Shichuri said, "No, he didn't come to steal. He came and he said he wanted money. I told him to leave some for my taxes, then take the rest." And that's how he took and went. But then because the others gave evidence, that man was sent to prison for a few months. But the day he came out, he went straight to Shichuri's monastery and became his disciple. So how Zen transforms even without attempting to transform because of that unconditional love or compassion.
Very fine story which comes from within. Don't try to replicate it. After you'll be frustrated and complaining yourself, why did I let go that fellow? It has to come from within that stature. Then you're able to accept it. Okay, so getting on with the verse, the second half of the verse, he says, first half, as I said, undivided, yet existing as if divided in beings. It is not divided, it appears to be divided. And that which is to be known is what is to be known? Brahman is to be known, which is undivided in the divided, is to be known. How should you know it? Is the sustainer, destroyer, creator. Where sustainer, creator, destroyer of what? World, which is Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. So that Brahman, which is the undivided, is known to us as Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, the creator, destroyer, sustainer. So we are actually, what are we doing? Srinivas to the concept, we are diluting the concept of Brahman to Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara. Diluting then, correct? That which is undivided, we are telling it is the creation, destruction, maintenance. Okay? These are the happenings in the world. These are the manifestations in the world. This is the change that happens in the world. We are just giving it a name and a form, a name to something which is happening. But that is not this. This is only a manifestation of that. Don't bring that grandeur of Brahman to mere creation, maintenance, destruction. You just confine to the world, man. World is nothing but Srinivas, birth, death, sustains life. What is all three put together is another name for the world. What is that? Where are you today? Today, mentally, you're somewhere else. You're not your normal self. Your normal self? What's another name? Okay, other name for the world. In the context. In the context, what is another name for the world? What are we talking about? Okay, what we talk about, birth and death means what? What does birth and death do? Sir, when you left home, philosophically, you were dead in your house, you were born in the ashram. After an hour or so, you'll be dead in the ashram, perhaps you'll be gone back, born again in the house. So the death and birth, what has it created for you? Has it not created a change of experience for you? Your experience at home is different to the experience here. So the change. So birth and death is nothing but change. Sustenance, creation, and destruction is only defining the world, which is the flux of change. Brahman is the changeless in the change. So don't bring the changeless and say, Shiva is God. Don't say Vishnu is God. It's a mere symbol of that magnificent, that something which is unparalleled. You bring that down to a mere manifestation and say, this is God. Don't do that. That's what the mantra is saying. Brahman is the undivided in the divided. It is that should be known. What should be known? That Brahman should be known is expressing as this. Don't define me by my expressions. Understand by my original nature. Correct? You want to understand somebody, you don't understand by his actions, you understand his nature, right? His action is only talking about his nature, but you don't define him by his action. His nature is way beyond the action. So that Brahman is way beyond creation, destruction, maintenance. Today, people are portraying that as everything, which is not to be perceived. 18. It's okay, it's okay. ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिः तमसः परमुच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम् ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिः तमसः परमुच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम्. Very, very famous verse. I know not why it's famous, but very famous. You find out why it is famous. He says, Jyotisham api tajyotihi. It is the light of even the lights. That is said to be tamasah param. It is beyond darkness. It is jnanam. It is gneyam. Jnanam is knowledge. Gneyam, that which is to be known. It is the jnana gamyam. It is the goal of knowledge. And what is the goal of knowledge? Hridi sarvasya vishtitam. It is seated in the hearts of all. Very, very famous verse. It has got perhaps everything that a Vedantin should get. A Vedantic mantra, a Vedantic message is contained in this verse, describing the glory of Brahman. It is the light of even the lights. That which illumines the light itself. That which is beyond darkness. Means this Brahman is beyond knowledge and ignorance. How do you explain that? Literally and symbolically, Brahman or the pure consciousness is that which enables you to be conscious of your knowledge. It also enables you to be conscious of ignorance. Sir, I ask you, are you with me, sir? You know my name? Are you sure you know my name? Are you sure? How sure are you? Very much sure. Are you in your senses when you say that? Don't worry. I'm just trying to make sure. Fourth time, fifth time, also he maintained that he knows my name. Now, do you know my grandfather's name? Are you sure? What are you sure? You are sure you knew my name? Don't worry, sir. Don't be tensed. Pao is very tensed, man. His BP must have gone high now. You're sure you know my name? You're sure you don't know my grandfather's name? N number of times, if I were to pin you down, you will still say, yes, sir, I don't know. I know that I don't know your grandfather's name. I know that I know your name. So what is it that is enlivening your knowledge? What is it that's enlivening your ignorance? I am the light of lights of knowledge. I am beyond darkness, ignorance. That beyond that is Brahman. Fascinating. Your hair stands on end when you really talk of it. The depth in those words is beyond. You may have heard this, but you got to feel that words. So knowledge cannot get you there. So it's beyond knowledge. It's beyond ignorance. It is that which is that light of all lights. It is said to be beyond darkness. The first line he says this. It illumines what you know. It illumines what you don't know. And then perhaps the gist of the mantra here, not the gist, is the real, one of the other takeaways here is Jnanam, Jneyam, Jnanagamyam. The real essence of the chapter is here. Jnanam is knowledge. Jneyam, that which is to be known. Jnanagamyam is the goal of knowledge. 3 words. Beautiful. Get this by heart. What you learned today, I learned about Jnanam, Jneyam, Jnanagamyam. Just to even say that is beautiful. And then he says, and that knowledge, that which is to be known, which is the goal of knowledge, is seated in the hearts of all. It is there deep, deep within you. I'll take the 19th mantra because that concludes the third topic. And he is just summarizing it here. Um, 12:38, somebody is asking Nash. I don't know who's Nash. What is to be repeated, please? I didn't get you. Remove that screen. Stop sharing that screen. Who is Nash here? Sorry. I'm asking Nash and Shivaji is replying. Yes, I don't know, am I to know you by your name, what you say? Yes, Nareshji.
Hello. I'm sorry. It was just the three terms you used. Beyond that is to be known.
Yes, Nareshji, so happy to see you. I just to introduce everybody, happy to see Nareshji. I met him in Bali when I went for the an invite with Harish's son's wedding. I was there in Bali a month ago or so, and got to meet Naresh, who is a very good friend of Harish. Harish, are you there? Harish is incognito. Now he is to be. Yeah. So is to Harish. He introduced us to Naresh, and we interacted, we connected well, and good to see you, sir. So if you can't get any wisdom from me, you can get from Harish. Harish, you'll give it to him, right?
After you,
So, I'm
Guruji.
sorry. I'm sorry. I just missed something, and I think it was quite important. That's all. That is known and not known. You said 3 lines from the last sloka,
Okay.
and I just wanted. I was writing them down, and I missed it because I lost the sound.
Not at all. Which
Sorry.
verse? Which the previous verse, verse 18?
Yes.
Okay. Can we have verse 18, please? Yeah. Which part from this verse?
I think the part about beyond darkness and knowledge.
What I said while explaining that, I said is Brahman, or which is that which we are trying to explain. It is not something which can be captured through knowledge. It's not something which can be caught up with your intellectual ideas. So it is not limited to knowledge. So Brahman is beyond knowledge. Brahman is beyond ignorance. Brahman is that which enlivens your knowledge. Brahman is that which enlivens your ignorance as well. In the example I gave, I know what I know. I also know what I do not know. So when I say I know what I know, I know what I do not know, that the first 2 words, I know, refers to the consciousness of Brahman. That I know is beyond your knowing. That I know is beyond your unknowing or ignorance as well. So that's one of the very rare, beautiful concepts of explaining what is real Brahman. Here, Brahman means God. He's saying it is that light of lights. It's also beyond darkness.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Sure. Welcome, sir. 19, please. Iti kshetram tata jnanam ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते. He's summarizing what has he said in this verse till now in this chapter. Whatever he said in this chapter is summarizing here. Thus, the kshetra, the field, as well as the knowledge and that which has to be known has been briefly stated. If this is brief, I don't know what is in detail. Means there's so much more to give. That's what it means. Don't be, you can't be say I'm enough, but thank you. I've learned the Gita. You can't say that. There's so much more. My devotee attains my being. Nothing personal here. Huh? When he says my, refers to one who seeks the self. He becomes the self. It's not that no, the people from certain organizations say Those who worship Krishna will become Krishna. It's not the personality, please. It's not a Krishna movement going on here. It is my devotee, my refers to Brahman. Those who worship the self become the self. As you think, so you become. What do you think? You become that. Now, in the verse, he says, thus the kshetra, just for your reference, the kshetra means the field. Share verses 6 and 7, the same chapter. Verses 6 and 7 spoke of the kshetra. Just giving you a quick reference to verses 6 and 7. Because he said they have already been stated. The 6th and the 7th verse gave 31 items. Kshetra, the Sanskrit word for kshetra means the field. The field is where Brahman is. So where do you identify, where do you locate Brahman? Where do you find the 6th verse said the great elements, ego, intellect, the unmanifest, which is the vasanas, the 10 senses, the mind, and the 5 objects of senses, the sense objects. And the 7th verse, desire, hatred, pleasure, pain, the body, intelligence, firmness. This is kshetra, briefly described with its modifications. So kshetra is where all you can identify Brahman. It's like saying, where all can I identify electricity? That fellow doesn't know what electricity is. How do you say? Electricity is in the fan, electricity in the speaker, electricity in the bulb, electricity in the heater, electricity in the refrigerator, electricity in the microphone, electricity in the power that your tab is operating. This is electricity. So all the field of expressions is Brahman. Knowledge. Knowledge refers to what is knowledge? Who can answer this question online? Samyama is raising her hand. Hopefully you can unmute. What is knowledge? In the context, we are referring to something has already been said in the chapter. Out of context, you can say it is their awareness. But when he says, I have already described knowledge, I'm referring to what has been described. Like as I referred kshetra to verses 6 and 7. Versus knowledge is something which is described. So what is he referring to is the question. Knowledge, jnanam has been described. What is jnanam? Sat, no. Jnanam refers to, it's not in the general sense, Nareshji, the knowing when you say, not the light, Ramji, but the knowing, sorry, the knowledge here refers to the 20 qualities of a jnani. If you go back to the 20 qualities, show verse 12, verses 8 to 12 gave 20 qualities of a jnani. And in the 12th verse, Sureshji, can you read the translation for us, please? Verse 12, translation, can you read? It's there on the screen as well if you want to.
It's 12.
8 or 12?
12.
Constancy in self-knowledge, perception of the end of true knowledge. This is declared to be knowledge. What is opposed to this is ignorance.
So having given 20 qualities of an enlightened person, verses 8 to 12, at the conclusion of the 20 qualities, he says, this is declared to be knowledge. Idi jnanam. Etad jnanam iti proktam ajnanam Yadatonyatha. This is knowledge. Opposed to this is ignorance. So he who has these 20 qualities is a man endowed with knowledge. Mathematical precision. Summary of whatever he said. 1 to 18, 19th was summarizing. That's why I said 19th is just summarizing what was said. And then he says that which has to be known. 13 to 18. Verses 13 to 18 has been described. It is the light of lights. It is within and without. It is undivided yet divided. That has to be known. 13 to 18 is given. So the moment you remove the ignorance, what remains is Jashima, the moment you remove your disease, what remains with you? Physical disease. So when the moment, let's say, the disease is removed, what remains with you? Health. As we took the example last week, no doctor can give you health. The doctor can only remove disease. So medicine is an antidote for disease. Medicine cannot give you health. Similarly, this journey can only remove the ignorance. And knowledge removes the ignorance. What remains with you is your original nature. Now, what is the title of the chapter, Jayashrima? Do you remember? The title of the chapter is the knowledge, the yoga of the distinction between kshetra and kshetrajna. Kshetra is the field, kshetrajna is the knower of the field. So what should you drop? The moment you drop the kshetra, you will get the kshetrajna. The moment you drop the disease, you get health. The moment you drop the lower, you get the higher. And the next topic, verses 20 to 24, differentiates between what is Prakriti and what is Purusha. See, we are going through the text in great detail. It will satisfy any true inquirer of this knowledge. It is being served to satisfy such serious seekers. It's not just a superficial attempt in trying to explain, but it's a serious attempt to draw the essence. But as you mark my words, it is so scientific, so logical, so systematic. I'll leave you with this. We come back and continue. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.